No,
on the
it's
good old
not, and I'm
condenser.
hot as a fucking dick pump after a night of action, so.
Welcome to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast for Tuesday, August 29th,
That makes it in there.
2017. That's Ian Ferguson.
Howdy.
Country. You have familiarity with temperatures of dick pumps, huh, Ian?
I'm just saying a dick pump's going to be pretty warm if it's been used all evening.
Coming up on the show, we're talking about maybe cross-play, Microsoft and Sony getting it on. SNES Classic Edition pre-orders. Oh my God. H3H3 winning a lawsuit against Matt Haas's own. Half-Life 3 confirmed, maybe. Q&A, Patreon questions.
And Joel Osteen gargling his own hot diarrhea.
Before we get into that, we want to, talk about what's happening in Houston. It's unfortunate, obviously, with the flooding. I recommend going to AmeriCares.org. It's a very fine organization if you want to donate anything there. They're very reputable. Anything would probably help. AmeriCares.org. That'd be very appreciated.
I actually agree with Pat on that one. That's the charity that I would go to.
I hope you wouldn't yell me down on that one. Either.
No, I'm just saying as opposed to the Red Cross and things like that.
Red Cross is fine too.
It is, but I feel like everything goes quicker and more direct through AmeriCares.
Sure. Does Joel Osteen AmeriCare, Ian?
Joel Osteen is a person who can fuck off into the pits of if you believe in him.
Well, he's one of these mega church pastors.
Yeah.
And he actually does it out of a Houston arena. I think it's where the Rockets used to play.
Yes, it is.
So it seats like 17,000 people. The guy is uber rich, probably worth tens of millions of dollars, because when you're an evangelical that runs a super church, you get a lot of donations from your flock that comes to see you.
Yeah, he's one of those hedonists like Caligula who shits in a gold toilet and then eats out of it with a fork and a spoon just because he can.
Never learned that in high school. But
Anyways, he's shit, and even after he opened his doors. Well,
that's the story. He was not. They said, "Oh, we're closing down we're not gonna have services this weekend." And people are saying, "Well, it's not flooded, so why don't you open your doors and let people in, have it as a place of respite at least, if not to shelter some people."
And then to save his ass. I mean, the only reason he didn't want people in there is because he doesn't like dirty people and he doesn't want them ruining his nice chairs and carpet.
Oh no, he doesn't want to be a Christian and actually do the right thing. Or help out people that might be in need.
Right. He said there was some flooding, and there was minor flooding on some of the lower basement levels, but if you look at the pictures from the outside, everything was fine. The thing is the biggest areas, like the second floor, and I believe there's the third floor to that church, but the biggest area is the second floor of that church, which could have housed hundreds of people. Meanwhile, you got this mattress guy, who's
the mattress king of Houston,
Mattress Mac, who's the mattress king of Houston, who opened up 2 of his stores, I think the day of or the day after, and had like close to 1,000 people by the end of it in his stores. He had kids playing on mattress forts. He was feeding everyone hot meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, doing this before, the supposed religious man is opening up.
By the way, Joel Osteen is worth, according to online sources, he's worth a net worth estimated of $40 million, and he lives in a $10.5 million, 17,000 square foot home with 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms. I'm not going to get on. I don't like attacking rich people as a general principle. I think that's kind of weird.
No, but I love attacking rich televangelists.
Well, yes, that's a little bit different. At least ones that aren't giving back at all.
Right.
And that sort of shows that this is really a business. Obviously, it's a business, and they're not taxed because it's a religion. Though at the same time,
you know about the prosperity gospel, right? Have you read into that? The prosperity gospel is what these sort of people preach, which is
just sort of the Calvinistic sort of point of view.
The prosperity gospel is if you believe in God hard enough and pray to God hard enough and give enough money to your church, you're going to make money back.
Oh, okay.
It's completely opposite of all Christian teachings.
It's a faith lottery.
Yeah, exactly. So you pray hard enough, you're going to get your money.
Calvinism actually sounds better than that.
Yeah, which is crazy. No, so anyways, the point I wanted to make was he said when they opened, he's like, we were always going to open, but we were waiting for the city and community shelters to be full first. No, you fucker. I'm not religious. I'm atheist, but I'm not capital A atheist. I don't like people who go out of their way to identify as such. Well, I may like them, but I don't like that aspect. Anyways.
You're like a Penn Jillette atheist.
Yeah, it's just what I am.
Yeah. You're not like, there's no God, fuck you for believing in God.
And I'm going to get so zealous about it that I'm going to go march about it. But no, your religion states that this is your duty. You don't wait. You fill up first, and then when you're full, you look to your community. You should have been taking in all the people who give you all that fucking money.
I feel worst about the people that go to his church because either you believed he was a guy that was a man of faith in God, and now you see he's a total fucking fraud, and you then have to drag yourself to church there to actually listen to this hypocrite in person. That's probably the best case scenario, because now you figure out, wow, this guy's just been taking my money for his lavish lifestyle. But there will be some people that will probably, like with other people they believe in, or anyone that can believe in someone and doesn't want to think anything they can do anything bad, they'll continue to go to the church and they'll just say, oh, why are you getting on him for? He doesn't deserve it.
I saw a guy defending him online who said that I, for one, defend Joel Osteen for not, opening up whatever the church is called, because
water or something, Lakewood.
Not opening the Lakewood Church because it's a place of worship, not a shelter. And someone made the very good retort.
That's the dumbest thing in my life.
Made the very good retort. If it's not a shelter, it's not a place of worship, and it's
yeah.
Anyway,
other than that.
Woo!
That's Ian's Ian's going in this podcast too. Did you check out the Conor McGregor or Mayweather fight? I may have allegedly saw it somehow.
Much like political speeches and things like that, I tend to watch fights through text.
Okay.
Through text.
Who was texting you about it?
No, through like news updates.
Oh, okay.
It's someone said something similar about politics and fights like that. It's like there are Eclipse glasses to just watch it through that.
Sure.
Reading it round by round, it sounded like it was probably a more interesting fight than it
was entertaining.
Should have been.
It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
I think that's what surprised people most. Even Frank, who said, I don't want to watch it, it's a circus, ended up saying it was entertaining.
Because I heard that rounds 1 through 3 were very almost pro
Conor won the first three rounds, because in the first 2 rounds, Floyd didn't throw any punches, really. He threw about 10 punches around.
And then I heard there was like 2 or 3 rounds that were very much Mayweather. Then I heard Conor came back for a round.
Conor had one round that he either...
Like a late round.
I wouldn't have given it. It was probably a split round. That was probably round 7
or 8. Yeah. And then I heard 9 and 10 were all Mayweather.
Yeah, so, all right. I'm a mixed martial arts fan, all right? But it annoys me the massive disrespect shown to the art and martial art. Boxing's a martial art. In its definition, it's a martial art. And the fact that you have this character, Conor McGregor, that's larger than life because he's a pro wrestling fan. He's a fan of Muhammad Ali. He models himself after him. And that's the reason why, like I keep saying, he's gone from welfare to $100 million in 4 years, which is great. That's good for you. That doesn't mean you know how to box. That doesn't mean that. You may be a good mixed martial artist, but it doesn't mean you can box. Boxing is one of several specialties in mixed martial arts.
Sure.
You cannot be a specialist boxer and at the same time be a successful mixed martial artist. In the same way, you couldn't be doing mixed martial arts and be a successful boxer, because mixed martial arts is really a jack of all trades. Maybe you're very good at one of those things, but it's hard to be. You can't be a master of all those things. You have to pick one thing.
You can't be a successful French cook and a successful baker at the same time.
Very tough, right?
Yeah,
sure. Or maybe you can be okay, but I think what you see is this cult of Conor McGregor, if I may call it that. Everyone's saying he's going to knock Mayweather out. He's going to do it. Why? Because he talks a good game? I could talk a good game. I'm not going to knock out shit. You know, anyone can talk it up. But what was interesting was that I think Mayweather knew he had to make it interesting as his last fight. He didn't want. He's very smart. He's a piece of garbage overall, Mayweather.
Oh, he's a huge piece of shit.
He's extremely smart businessman, which people don't realize. He knows everything that's going on.
Most big pieces. I mean, okay, let me put it this way: most smart businessmen are huge pieces of shit.
Thanks, Ian. But anyway, so what? So what? But he even started the pay-per-view.
For which, do you think I'm calling you a piece of shit or not a smart businessman?
I don't know. Either way, it works. It works for the radio show, for the podcast. But he was so smart that even right before the fight, he heard that the pay-per-view servers were getting hammered in California and Florida.
Oh yeah, that was because the match got delayed.
Yes, because of him. He was like, "Oh no, we're not starting." Like this is right before the fight. He's still thinking about this stuff, which is very good credit to him. He wants people to make sure they can actually see him because no one gave a shit about the undercard, which is bad. Because
I don't even know what was on it.
There was a couple of championship fights on the undercard, so Mayweather comes out and doesn't really fight the first 2 rounds. McGregor gets in a few good punches, and because of that, people are allowing all the MMA guys, including some people in the UFC, are like, "Oh, you went 10 rounds with the best ever." No. Mayweather's not the best ever anymore. No. He's been retired for 2 years. He's 40. He looks almost washed up. There's a reason this is his last fight. He went against an injured Pacquiao a few years ago, and that was 5 years too late that fight to have mattered.
Yep.
And he was defensive against Pacquiao because Pacquiao's a murderer and can kill you with his speed and power. So people are like, "Oh, well, he got in more shots than Pacquiao because he went after McGregor and walked in on him like covering up, which that's not how Mayweather fights. So he didn't respect McGregor's power after like the 3rd round because McGregor, like I predicted, would be tired as fuck after like round 4.
Well, I don't follow boxing much, but like I remember watching Tyson Lennox and Tyson Lewis, and you know Tyson came out looking strong, and I remember at the bar I was at, they were like, "Oh, this might not be the joke it was," but after the second, because Tyson was hitting for the first 2 rounds, but 3rd round Tyson's gassed.
Yep.
Lennox fights defensively and it goes the distance and Lennox wins.
But that was amazing. So when people are saying, "Oh, you no shame in getting knocked out in the 10th round by Mayweather," there's a slight shame when you said you were going to knock out. I understand it's promoted
TKO.
You were
but
no.
Still.
Yes, the same thing as a knockout, technical knockout. But there's a slight difference between saying, "Oh, congratulations, you went 10 rounds and got knocked out," versus saying, "I was going to knock you out under 4 rounds." And by the 4th round, I'm like, there's not a chance. He was never in trouble, really, for most of the fight. There was one body punch that I think it was like round 7 or 8 that looked like it stunned Mayweather, but it was hard to see if it was a low blow or not. Mayweather claimed it was a low blow. Well, other than that, he was never in trouble the whole fight. So when you have a guy that you outweigh by 15 to 20 pounds naturally, that's 40 years old, and
what did he outweigh him by at the beginning? I think like 7 pounds.
It was a decent amount, but then remember, MMA guys cut weight by 10 to 15 pounds. So you're outweighed by 15 pounds. You're 11 years younger. You're not washed up. And oh, by the way, Mayweather hasn't legitimately knocked someone out in like 10 years.
Except for maybe his. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, we're trying to keep this just a fight. But anyway, so you
should be in prison.
You got showed up. You got showed
fucking prison.
You got showed up a little bit, and so I like McGregor because he's a good fighter. But to him go from I'm gonna knock you out in 4 rounds, look at him, this old man. That old man just beat your ass. He walked you down and beat you. So
yeah, but I mean, I read convincing enough articles that not that this was a rigged match, but that
it wasn't rigged.
No, not that it was rigged. But that they played this shit off each other on purpose,
well, of course,
just to build it.
Of course.
I mean, did he really? Whatever. We're turning this. We still have a little bit more to cover in this intro, and we're turning this all.
I just think it's funny that all the MMA fans, and I watch MMA, we're like, "Oh, he's gonna beat Mayweather." So no, he's not. He was never going to. Frank's prediction was almost spot on. Mine was about spot on. About
MMA smells bad.
Really? What? All right. What else is going on, Ian?
Well, apparently, according to our intro, the Video Game Years is on Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Which it is.
Check it out. It's at like 4 stars out of 5. Help boost it up a little bit.
Yeah.
People complaining it's a bunch of YouTubers that didn't grow up with the games that they're talking about, which is the same shit we heard when we first went on YouTube. So, maybe give it a watch.
Which is bullshit. So, watch it.
Then you can't, because of course you also can't play any video games after they come out. Like, you can't play Pac-Man in the arcade after the first year it came out. It's impossible.
It would have been impossible.
People don't know this. People don't know that arcade machines have a half-life of like a year and a half, so they just disintegrate like an atom on the periodic table. You know, you can't see him after a while.
Right. It would have been impossible for someone who was born in '82 to actually enjoy Pac-Man at 6 or 7 years old.
There's no way I could ever. I couldn't play Mousetrap on ColecoVision after 1982. It's impossible.
No.
Absolutely impossible.
Yep.
So check out Video Game Years on Amazon Prime. And real quick about our pal Jason MetalJesusRocks. Really something weird happened. This is just real quick. We were thinking about making this a full topic, but I guess he put out a video because he at first put out a video saying, "Oh, this is cool. Check out this GameCube HDMI adapter." Okay, fine. Fast forward to months and months later when he had a party. The GameCube with the HDMI adapter in it got yanked. The cord got yanked, so it fell, and so that process fried the system because of the HDMI adapter. So he pointed out to people ethically that, hey, there's an issue with this HDMI adapter. You should watch out for this. And the creator of the HDMI adapter said the same thing, didn't he? He was like, yeah, there's an issue here because pins...
He goes, okay, I think it was some sort... I don't understand electronics, but he was like, okay, I think it was like there was some sort of lead on this that shouldn't be made like this. It's why he made a version 3 that should fix this issue, etc., etc. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, he's just saying that because, Metal Jesus has, Jason has a lot of, influence, and he was forced to say this. No. Here's the thing. And by the way, it's fucking atrocious that Kinsey got so much shit, because what happened is Metal Jesus Rocks has a channel. We all know this. And he has multiple people who are on his channel. There's Reggie, there's Kinsey, there's Kelsey.
Handsome John Hancock.
Handsome John Hancock. Handsome John Hancock. I like all these people. I've met them all in person. Well, actually, I haven't met Reggie or John, but I've met Kelsey, Kinsey, and obviously Metal Jesus. GameCubes are basically indestructible.
They are blocks.
They are blocks. I take in GameCubes every day. The amount of GameCubes I have to turn away because they're not working, maybe like 2 a month. I mean, we're talking very, very few. The majority of them that I turn away is because they're too dirty or they're broken, or like something is physically
messed up,
like cosmetically
on the lid or something.
Yeah, and I there's a crack or something's broken off. When it fell, it didn't even fall off the shelf.
Yeah, when you look at the video, it's like there was like a foot that it got dragged. It's like when you drag something and cords are resisting from the back, so it kind of moves slowly at first, and then if it did hit the floor, which I didn't see, if it hit the floor, it wasn't for more than like a foot at that point.
So, anyways, all I'm trying to say here is I think people wanted to make a big deal about this. I think big YouTubers are targets. Full disclosure, I like Jason a lot, but I wouldn't say that I only know him well enough to have said I've had a couple drinks with him.
I never had a couple drinks. I did interview him on the Not So Common podcast, though.
But he's a good dude. But it's not like I feel like I have to go out of my way to defend him, but I am defending him because it just seems silly.
It was a weird overreaction.
It was a weird overreaction because GameCubes are known to be high quality. This sort of thing should not fry a GameCube. In fact, I don't know of fried GameCubes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not something
this
that
is
happens.
All. If I understand, people like going after people, and sometimes for some reason on the internet, it's somehow
it's sport
because the person's also a female. Somehow that makes it easier to go after them. Sometimes.
So of course we're going to go after. Kinsey.
Here comes everyone calling Pat an SJW, which would be funny to see for the first time.
Well, hey, welcome to the club.
Where's my pin?
I'll make you one.
Okay, but
first time SJW.
But this is all you have to ask yourselves. If that HDMI adapter wasn't in that GameCube and it got yanked, would it probably still work? 99 times out of 100, yes.
Yes.
It would. I've dropped an NES from higher than that, and it hit the floor, and it was fine. Maybe just reset the game.
I've watched people drop their GameCubes from, 3 feet above as they're pulling them out of their bags, and they go, oh shit, and I'm like, it's probably gonna be fine, and we hook it up.
So
and it's
obviously
fine.
there's a defect in the manufacturing design of this HDMI adapter.
Yeah,
that's all
that's all
we're gonna say about that. I'm an SJW now. All right. Other than that, listen to the Not So Common podcast. I recorded one with Frank last week. You're holding your head weird, and we talked about.
Headphones started to slip off.
And we talked about the Mayweather McGregor. And we predicted it almost on the nose, and stuff like Charlottesville came up, and other topics. Check that out. Oh, and a new Path to NES Punk video just came out as well.
I'm actually excited to watch this.
Ian, if Ian is actually going to watch the video,
there's no gun to my head, no trap on the floor.
Is a sponsored ad?
No,
Hashtag sponsored ad.
It's not sponsored. I actually am very much looking forward to this one.
Wow, ripped from the headlines.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. 100% excited. Not watching this just to watch it.